Hello everyone. A is a beautiful exponential equation which says a raised to the power of a equals 2 raised to the power of root 200. And this is the task before us which says find the value of a. At first glance, this question looks difficult because the variable appears as the base and also as the exponent. Now let's get started on how to solve this. The first thing is, let's simplify the right hand side here. The first thing we notice here is square root of 200. Since 200 is equal to 100 times 2, then square root of 200 equals square root of 100 times 2, which is equal to square root of 100 times square root of 2, which will give us 10 root 2. So our equation becomes a raised to the power of a equals 2 raised to the power of 10 root 2. Now the next thing we are going to be doing is we are going to be thinking about the base. Whenever you see powers of 2, it is often helpful to express the unknown using base 2. Let's assume a equals 2 raised to the power of x. Then a raised to the power of a will give us 2 raised to the power of x to the power of 2x. Using the exponential rule, which says m raised to the power of n to the power of p will give us m raised to the power of np, that is m raised to the power of n times p. So we obtain 2 raised to the power of x times 2x equals 2 raised to the power of 10 root 2. Since both sides have the same base, which is base 2, then their bases cancel completely, but their exponent still remain. Therefore, x times 2x equals 10 root 2. Now we simply need a value of x satisfying this equation. Let's look for a clever number. Note that 10 root 2 equals 5 times 2 root 2. So we ask ourselves, can we write 2 root 2 as a power of 2? Which is yes. Then let's start with root 2, which is equal to 2 raised to the power of half. This is true because 2 raised to the power of half as well will give us root 2. Now let's multiply both sides by 2. On the left side, we have root 2, and on the right side, we have 2 raised to the power of half. Now let's multiply both sides by 2, which will give us 2 times root 2 equals 2 times 2 raised to the power of 1 over 2. Since 2 is the same thing as 2 raised to the power of 1, that means 2 times root 2 will give us 2 raised to the power of 1 times 2 raised to the power of half. Using our exponent law, which says 2 raised to the power of a times 2 raised to the power of b equals 2 raised to the power of a plus b. That means 2 times root 2 equals 2 raised to the power of 1 plus 1 over 2, which will give us 2 raised to the power of 3 over 2. Let's remember 10 root 2 which is equal to 5 times 2 root 2. So 2 raised to the power of 3 over 2 equals 2 root 2. Therefore, 5 times 2 raised to the power of 3 over 2 equals 10 root 2. Now let's try if x equals 5 over 2. That is 2 raised to the power of 5 over 2 equals 4 root 2. Then 5 over 2 times 4 root 2 will give us what? 2 into 1, 2 in 4, 2. So we have that 5 times 2, 10, which is 10 root 2, which is perfect. So x equals 5 over 2. The next thing is, let's find a. Since a equals 2 raised to the power of x, then let's substitute for x equals 5 over 2. That means a equals 2 raised to the power of 5 over 2. Let's simplify this. 2 raised to the power of 5 over 2 equals 2 raised to the power of 2 multiplied by 2 raised to the power of half, which is equal to 4 root 2. So our a equals 4 root 2. Now let's verify. On the left side, our equation says a raised to the power of a, where our a equals 4 root 2. So we have it as 4 root 2 raised to the power of 4 root 2. Since 4 root 2 equals 2 raised to the power of 5 over 2, that means we have this as what? 2 raised to the power of 5 over 2 to the power of 4 root 2. Using our exponent rules, 2 raised to the power of 5 over 2 times 4 root 2 will give us 2 raised to the power of 10 root 2. And because 10 root 2 is equal to root 200, then 2 raised to the power of 10 root 2 equals 2 raised to the power of root 200. Can you see now that on the left side, we got 2 raised to the power of 10 root 2, and also on the right side, 2 raised to the power of root 200 is equal to 2 raised to the power of 10 root 2, which exactly matches the original equation. Thank you for watching.